It looks like the world is out to get Gordon Ryan. Everyone seems to be going against Gordon Ryan. The world is against Gordon Ryan, as it seems today. As a casual BJJ viewer, many of you may know exactly what this post is before I even reveal it. This was about the time when I started to get into jiu-jitsu. It was 2020, 2021 when I started catching on to who Gordon Ryan was, who these guys like Craig Jones, Nicky Rod, Eddie Cummings, like Gary Tonin, like all these guys in the Danaher Death Squad, the big key members. These are the kind of guys that I started to gravitate towards, all of them, because I was realizing that, oh, these guys are all a part of the same team. Wow, holy cow, this is much like how the fighting nerds are kind of in the UFC today, where there's multiple guys that are all kind of at the peak of their careers right now in terms of entertaining grapplers, entertaining fighters. Anyway, that aside, let me just walk you through who the Danaher Death Squad was in the outset. We had Gary Tonin first up here, right here. He has now pursued MMA. He's gotten into MMA. He's competing in one championship right now. Gordon Ryan, as we know, one of the biggest names in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu right now. One of the most controversial figures in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu today. And Craig Jones, of course, another controversial figure in Jiu-Jitsu. He just did the CJI just a month ago. That was a big boom in success for the Jiu-Jitsu world. May have revolutionized Jiu-Jitsu as a whole going forward. Nicky Ryan, Gordon Ryan's younger brother. Eddie Cummings here. And Nicky Rod, giant heavyweight Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu grappler. Now, Nicky Rod went on Brendan Schaub's podcast and had a little bit to say. Brendan Schaub was asking him what exactly was it that started all of this in terms of the breakup of the Danaher Death Squad, because it just seems like everything started going downhill at that point for Gordon Ryan once he started to break off and do his own thing. This is what Nicky Rod had to say on the matter.
You guys have is exactly what jiu-jitsu needs. Yeah. So it's like, as much you guys hate each other, whatever, dude, I'm sure at the end of the day, it's all good. And what you guys are doing brings people to the sport.
No, I don't hate them. I don't hate anybody, really. I don't live my life like that, right?
Yeah.
But as far as like the...
So that's good. They don't hate each other. It was just obviously, and some of it is weird. The full story isn't quite out there. We've heard from both sides, but we haven't heard either side say, oh yeah, I hate this guy, I can't stand this guy. It's like this weird competition thing, this weird competitiveness, this weird thing about how they all thought they were a family and certain guys decided that they wanted to go off and do their own thing, and some people were upset that they were breaking up the family thing, and some guys didn't really care about the family and others cared more. Like, I don't know really exactly what is going on here. And so this is where I'm reaching out to the community. Hit me up in the comments and give me a brief story. Hit me up with what you know, and I'd like to put it all together. I'm just getting this out here. I just want to get out what I know and get out this information and just put it out to the world, because I just don't think very many people are talking about this at all and what's really going on here, because it's really kind of a tragic thing. This was one of the most exciting teams that I've ever seen in terms of what I've seen in jiu-jitsu and have read about and seen and watched videos on in the history of jiu-jitsu. It's very, very interesting, this whole fallout of this stuff.
The drama, like... So pretty much we were teammates, right? 3 years or so. And then teams separated. We go to ADCC, have some success, and Gordon leg locks me in the finals, right? And then we go to UFC Fight Pass, and Gordon's opponent pulls out. I step in, and then...
So Nicky's talking about him and Gordon Ryan, some of their matches in the past couple of years, obviously. He and Craig Jones and Nicky Ryan, Gordon Ryan's brother, have gone and created the B Team Jiu-Jitsu, which put on the CJI this past month. And Danaher and Gordon Ryan, they moved over to what's now called New Wave Jiu-Jitsu, okay? So Danaher trains, it's kind of a bigger gym now. He trains a bunch of people. He likes to get his philosophies and that kind of thing out there to the public. That's what he's doing right now. And then Craig Jones and a couple of them keeping the team, some of the team together with B Team.
And I break his foot in a similar leg entanglement. And then, it was a very close match, and he won via time and overtime. I had him like a fucking rear naked choke locked up, and he taps after the bell, right? And then he goes on the mic. He's like, the reason why Nicky Rod broke my foot is because he was greasing. I had the Mark Bell Power Project podcast.
So obviously these guys are going back and forth. They're calling each other out for steroid use. They're calling each other out for greasing. They're calling each other out for every which way, every single thing you could possibly imagine, every cheating tactic. They're just going back and forth. They just have this competitive dislike for each other, obviously.
Yes. So I go in there, they ask me, they're like, why is Gordon so great? And I was like, well, if I'm being honest, it's because of the steroids he's abusing. It's public knowledge, like he said it.
Yes, Gordon is openly using steroids, but if I had to guess, Nicky Rod also using steroids. The guy's absolutely massive. I just don't see how you can get to his size and his strength in such a quick fashion without using steroids in some capacity. We know Gordon Ryan is using a lot. That has been theorized as to why he has so many stomach issues, so many health issues. But again, if I'm wrong, let me know.
He's talked about it before, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal, but he had this like big freak out over it. So then after another match, I bet him $50K to have another rematch. He was like, no, I got too much money. $50K is nothing. So nowadays I'm a bit off.
So now we're going forward. They've had this bet, whatever. They haven't fought in a while. Listen, it's very prevalent in the jiu-jitsu community in terms of what steroids are being used. It's public knowledge that a lot of jiu-jitsu players use steroids in some capacity. Overall, I don't know what to think about it on a day-to-day basis. It's always very confusing, but it's just crazy that this Danaher Death Squad had such a tremendous impact, and yet they started to fall apart not too long after coming together as a team. Obviously, there were individual pursuits, and I think that led to a lot of part of it. Some of the key members started to go their own way. Gordon Ryan started to do his own thing. Eddie Cummings left and started to do his own thing. Gary Tonin went into MMA, like I said. I mean, Danaher, probably, maybe he had something to do with it. Just the philosophy of jiu-jitsu, I think, maybe changed, and it sounds like there's been interviews where that's kind of what Craig Jones and a couple of them allude to. Danaher started to change what he did. I mean, they've all kind of come out in some form or fashion and acknowledged the breakup, but they just haven't gotten into the details and specifically what's happened. I think it would be fascinating for somebody to do a documentary on the whole thing. They started creating new teams. There's new alliances. There's weird things going on at ADCC, at the CJI. It's just all over the place in terms of what's happened. But the legacy they've left behind has been really, really impactful on jiu-jitsu. All the leg lots, the new strategies, the new rule sets that have kind of come about in terms of what they were doing at the time. It's kind of crazy that they don't exist, that it's broken up, and then it's gotten to this point of such a heated rivalry. And now after the CJI, the Gordon Ryan and the Craig Jones rivalries heating back up again, the hatred's brewing on a daily basis, on a social media basis. I think it's cool that there's this rivalry. It's probably going to take jiu-jitsu to the next level in terms of popularity overall, at least in America and for the TV audience and just for the drama that it's created. But it's kind of tragic that it's all happened. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Do you think this rivalry and this breakup has revolutionized jiu-jitsu on its own as well as the CJI? Let me know in the comments. Give me some tips, some hints. Let me know what to look for, some interviews that I can check out and put out there in the ether. And I'll see you in the next one.